Hello, I'm Sai. Welcome to School from Home. Today we'll be talking about history and political science. If this subject is studied well, it could be scoring as well. Today we have Mr. Sandeep Fatwe sir to guide us in this subject. He has been teaching in the SV Union School Pune for the past 30 years. He has been a chief moderator, subject committee member and also a paper setter in SSC board. Without further ado, I would like to request sir to please start his guidance. Thank you so much sir for being a part of School from Home.
Dear students, securing 100% marks in social studies is possible, provided you have to apply proper technique and supported by the sound reading of the textbook. Today, we are going to see the first part of the social studies that deals with history and political science. Lesson number 1, we are dealing with historiography, development in the West. First two lessons of the history, they are purely theoretical lessons. You may find them boring, but if you keep on reading, you will understand the concepts and then you will develop interest, which will help you in securing 100% marks. We are mainly focusing on the textbook because that tool we are going to use for the understanding of history. The history what you are going to study is based on what you did earlier in standard 8th and 9th. In 9th standard you had studied some sources of study of history. We are going to study historiography in detail in lesson number 1. We begin with the historical research method. What does it include? It includes examining relevant references of available historical information, collecting historical information, highlighting the processes that led to historical transition, carrying out comparative analysis. Understanding references regarding time and space of the given historical events and also various conceptual framework used in historical research method. Formulating relevant questions in view of the historical references. Formulating hypotheses. And lastly, critically examining the various sources of history. This is the basic part of the historical research method. Now we are going to see the meaning of historiography. The writing of critical historical narrative is known as historiography, and a person or a scholar who writes such a narrative is known as a historian. Ancient communities all over the world used various means like cave paintings, storytelling, singing songs, ballads, etc. From this we can learn the history of the past. These traditional means are looked upon as important source of study of history. Now we look at the important aspect of the modern history. So we begin with the characteristics of modern historiography. Its method is based on scientific principles. It begins with formation of relevant questions. Second, the questions are anthropocentric. It means that these questions are about the deeds of the members of ancient human societies of particular period. History does not suggest any interrelation between divine and human deeds. Answer to these questions are supported by reliable evidences. And last point, history presents a graph of mankind's journey with the help of past human deeds. Prior to 18th century, all European universities were interested only in philosophical discourses revolving around divine phenomenon. However, gradually the scenario began to change. Now we are going to study the notable scholars who contributed to the modern history. From exam point of view, when we study these philosophers, we have to write down the work done by them, especially the books written by them. Normally you will be getting objective type questions based on that. So to begin with, René Descartes, who was a French philosopher, and his period is from 1596 to 1650. He insisted on verifying the reliability of historical documents by critically examining them. His famous book, Discourse on the Method, is supposed to be of great importance. It has great impact on the scientific method of research. What is said by René Descartes is very important. He says that never accept anything for true till all the grounds of doubt are excluded. Second philosopher is from France, famous as Voltaire. His original name was François Marie Arouet. Voltaire gave a new dimension to the study of history. That's why he is also called as the founder of modern historiography. Third philosopher we are going to see is George William Friedrich Hegel. George William Friedrich Hegel. He was a German philosopher. To him, the timeline of historical events was indicative of progress. He introduced a novel technique of study of history. In his book, Encyclopedia of Philosophical Sciences and Reasons in History, he described different methods of study of history. One method was introduced by George William Friedrich Hegel, is known as method of dialectics. In this method, first a theory is proposed at the beginning, which is called a thesis. Later on, another theory is proposed which is exactly opposite of initially what was told, and he calls it as antithesis. After thorough logical discussion of both new thesis and antithesis, we get good conclusions out of it. It is known as synthesis. So this method was appreciated by many researchers. Next is Leopold von Ranke. He belongs to the 19th century philosopher. He put emphasis on the utmost importance of information gathered through original documents. He also stated that all types of documents associated with historical event need to be examined with greatest care. Collection of his articles is published in two books entitled The Theory and Practice of History and The Secret of World History. Karl Marx was a German philosopher. According to Karl Marx, history was about abstract ideas. It was about living people. Human relationships are shaped by fundamental needs of people and ownership as well as nature of prevalent means of production. The accessibility of these means to different strata of society may not be equal. This inequality causes division of the society into two classes, haves and have-nots. The people, those who own the industries, the means of production, Marx calls them as haves. And the people, those who are workers, laborers, those who are not owners of industry, they are called as have-nots. And in the Communist Manifesto, he had given idea that there will be conflict between haves and have-not will come to power. It happened true in Russia. In 1848, Communist Manifesto was written by Karl Marx, but it took almost 79 years to come into reality. It came true in Russia by means of revolution, what is famous as Russian Revolution. Another philosopher we are going to see is Michel Foucault, who belongs to modern times, the French historian of 20th century. Michel Foucault put forth new concept of historiography. In his book Archaeology of Knowledge, argued that prevailing practice of arranging historic events in a chronological order is not right. He drew attention to the fact that archaeology does not strive to reach the ultimate historical truth, but attempts to explain various transitions in the past. Foucault felt that explaining the transition in history is more important, so he called this method as archaeology of knowledge. One group of French people were of the opinion, especially on the onset of the 20th century, that group who followed particular philosophy is called as Annals School. Annals School gave new direction to history writing. It was recognized now that history is not only about the political events, kings, great leaders, and accordingly politics, diplomacy and wars, but also about climate, local people, social divisions, agriculture, trade, technology, means of communication, and the collective psychology. Another important dimension of modern times we are going to see in feminist historiography. Feminist historiography means the restructuring of the history from the perspective of women. The writings of Simone de Beauvoir helped in establishing the fundamentals of feminism. Simone de Beauvoir was a French philosopher. The feminist historiography emphasized not only on the inclusion of women in history, but also the rethinking of male-dominated perspective of history. It drove historical research to focus in depth on various aspects of women's life, such as their employment, their role in trade union, institutions, working for their cause and the family life, etc. So here we come to an end of lesson number 1 that deals with historiography, the development in the West. In second lesson, historiography, Indian tradition, we are going to study this lesson in 3 parts. 1, we deal with the ancient history. The history we study, the period is from 12th century, and here you will find contribution of people, those who wrote biographies. For example, Raja Tarangini, written by Kalhana. Then many tourists came to India who wrote about their day-to-day records, what we called as travelogues. we have Ziauddin Barni, who has written about Tuzuk-e-Firozshahi. Then you will find number of people who wrote about the history of that time, which will help you for objective type of questions. Second period we are going to see is for the Mughals period. From Babur, this starts. We have Tuzuk-e-Babri, which gives you details of the records of that time. Abul Fazl's Akbarnama describes the administration and the general working of Akbar. Now we move on to modern period, which deals with history of Marathas, and the important source is Bakhar. Here we are going to study meaning of Bakhar, what all is written by Bakhar, types of Bakhar, especially Bakhar written based on Panipat, the war between Peshwas and the Abdali. In addition to that, we are going to see the administration of Chhatrapati Rajaram Maharaj in Bakhar. We have different Bakhars such as Bhausahebanchi Bakhar, Panipatchi Bakhar, Holkaranchi Kaifiyat, and so on. Now we study the history during the period of British. It is called as colonial period, where Grand Duff, James Mill, Mount Stuart Elphiston and others wrote about the history of Indians. No doubt that history written by them with a prejudiced view. The Indians, those who learn English, and they tried to correct the ideas of British, is included in Indian historiography. The experts, Indian experts who study history, tried to explain history from their perspective. Then the Western people who had attraction for Eastern civilization, they came to India, they studied Sanskrit, the languages from India. They are called as Orientalist historiographers. Sir Frederick Max Muller is pioneer among them. He translated sacred books of the East, 50 volumes, edited. He translated Sanskrit text of Hitopadesh, and he compiled Rigveda, which has been published in 6 volumes in German language. So contribution of Orientalist we are going to see in this lesson. And the Indians, those who explain history from their perspective, keeping the prejudice thinking away as what British did. Among them we have V.K. Rajwade, important, eminent personality. His writings in Marathi on various subjects like history, linguistics, etymology, grammar, etc. He compiled and edited 22 volumes of Marathancha Itihasachi Sadhane. Then another important person who contributed to Indian history is Swatantraveer Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. He wrote a book entitled The Indian War of Independence of 1857. The nationalistic historiography provided a momentum to the writing of regional histories too. Then next phase we are going to study of history in the post-independence period. It includes Marxist history, subaltern history and feminist history. Marxist history, we can see the historians in India studied transition within the caste systems. Comrade Dange was one of the founder members of Indian Communist Party. Primitive Communism of Slavery is a book written by him. Subaltern history played an important role in the post-independence period. The role of Italian historian Antonio Gramsci is very important in developing the idea that history should be written starting from the bottommost ranks of the people in society, and the meaning of subaltern is the bottommost ranks. The concept of Shudrati Shudra communities were introduced by Mahatma Jyotiba Phule in his book Gulamgiri. Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar wrote two books, Who Were the Shudras and The Untouchables. And third part is the feminist history. The Indian women who contributed to the study of history, among them 19th century, the pioneering work was done by Tarabai Shinde, who wrote the book Stri Purush Tulna in 1882. She is acknowledged as first feminist historiographer in India, who wrote about the conditions of women of that time. In 1888, the book was written by Pandita Ramabai titled The High Caste Hindu Woman. Meera Kosambi's book Crossing Threshold, Dr. Rakhumabai, Pandita Ramabai and others, they contributed to this. In Maharashtra, Dr. Sharmila Rege, she wrote a book, Writing Caste, Writing Gender, regarding Dalit women's testimonies. So, in this chapter we saw the theoretical aspect of historiography from Indian point of view. Lesson number 3, 4, they are mainly dealing with the applied history. Lesson number 3, 5, 7, 8, 9 we are going to study this year. Applied history is also known as public history. How we can make use of history in day-to-day life is given in this lesson. Philosophy, science, technology, industry and commerce, management studies, art, humanities, how they are interrelated with history, we are going to study in this lesson. In this lesson, we are going to study about applied history and our present. Normally, you will be getting long answer type question based on that. Then, management of cultural and natural heritage. We have two sources. One is cultural heritage that we can divide into two. One is tangible cultural heritage and other is intangible cultural heritage. And second is the natural heritage. Flora, fauna, ecology is all included in natural heritage. In this regards, the role of UNESCO is very important. Some of the important sites have been given international status by UNESCO. They are considered as World Heritage Sites. They not only belong to one particular country, but they belong to the entire world, and preserve them is our responsibility. Here, a list of monuments, list of cultural things, natural heritage sites is given in the textbook, which will help us to know various sites in India which are declared as World Heritage Sites. Which courses are related to history, affiliated professional courses we are going to study in this lesson, and how a person who studies history gets an employment opportunity in the field of history and different subjects that we are going to study in this lesson. Lesson number 5 is altogether different, which has a direct relation with our day-to-day life, that deals with mass media and history. We are going to see the role of newspaper, because when television and radio were not invented, newspaper played an important role for history. We are going to study introduction to mass media in this lesson. We are going to see the role of newspaper even in the India's freedom struggle. We have Indian old newspapers like Darpan, Prabhakar, Jnanoday, then different periodicals. We have weekly, bi-weekly, monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, half-yearly and annually. Then we are going to study the history of radio, right from the British period till to date. Different names were given to radio. Earlier it was Indian Broadcasting Company. Later on it was named in 1936 as AIR, All India Radio. Then in the post-independence period, AIR became an integral part of Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Its name was changed and made as Akashvani. Then we have important phase, introduction of television, which has changed the total scenario because of audio and visual. Now we are going to see the applied part of history, how people of history get an employment in mass media, then as experts of history. Then we have different programs on television such as Bharat Ek Khoj, telecasted by Doordarshan, TV serials like Ramayana, Mahabharata, which attracted many people, and television reached to the masses. To date, more than 90% of India's population has accessibility for television, mainly because of satellite network. We are getting different TV channels, including foreign channels, telecasting different subjects, different topics. Lesson number 7 is liked by all students because that deals with sports. Sports and history, these two terms appear altogether different, but how they are interrelated. What are the types of games? Indoor games, outdoor games, are traditional games, international games. We are going to study about different sports activities in this lesson. We are going to see certain games which were played earlier. Now we know these games only by name. Then we are going to see the globalization of sports, how commercial approach entered in the sports, that we are going to study in this lesson. We are going to study the game materials and the toys right from historical period. We are going to see toys and history, how they are interrelated. Now we see the job opportunities, mainly the applied part of history, especially sport literature and movies on sports. We have movies like Dangal, we have movies like Mary Kom are the examples. Then what professional opportunities are there in different sports? Right from collection of data, processing data, working as subject expert in different fields, giving commentary of sports events at international, national level, people are doing career in it. There are some examples. For example, Baljo Pandit belonged to the old period, who was a player, but later on he started giving commentary, especially in Marathi, and it was liked by many people. So people of history, people of sports, both are getting job opportunities. So that we are going to study in this lesson. Lesson number 8 deals with tourism and history. Here we are going to see the meaning of tourism, different types of tourism, right from local level to international level, and in modern times how tourism has become an important economic activity. In fact, tourism is considered as an important economic tertiary activity. India has good potential to attract tourists from different parts of the world, which will create many jobs for Indians. Agro-tourism is a branch which has come up in recent times. Sports tourism, tourism related to special events are some new things which are coming up. We are going to study the development of tourism in this lesson, how we can provide better services, how we can attract tourists all over the world, and the conservation and preservation of our heritage. We are going to see the professional opportunities in tourism and hospitality management. There are new things such as heritage walk, which is important for study of many historical things. Then we are going to focus development of tourism, especially in Maharashtra. MTDC, Maharashtra State Tourism Development Corporation, has opened many important sites for tourists for development of tourism. Last lesson of history, lesson number 9, we are dealing with heritage management. Now this is again a technical subject where we are going to see different sources of study of history, written sources, then what kind of training is given for the people, those who are interested in studying history, studying architecture, studying museum. So material sources we are going to see in this lesson, and which institutions in India provide this kind of training will come across. Here we are getting information about different museums of the world, including the Louvre Museum of France, which has more than 3,80,000 artifacts. We are going to study about British Museum. We are going to study of National Museum of Natural History, United States of America. We are going to see museums in India. We are going to see Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj Vastu Sangrahalaya, which is in Mumbai. We are going to see libraries and archives, which will give us a lot of information about the past. How historians or how people of history are important in making of encyclopedia, we are going to study. What is encyclopedia, types of encyclopedia, and how history helps us in writing an encyclopedia. We are going to see encyclopedias on history related subjects, Vishwakosh, Bharatiya Samskruti Kosh, Saudhnya Kosh at different levels, and how again applied part of history, people of history get employment in these areas. Last year a new subject was introduced, political science. We are going to see in standard 10 political science, which is very important because when you go for competitive examinations, interviews, you will be getting questions related to the information what you are going to study in standard 10. We begin with the working of constitution. In fact, constitution is considered as fundamental law of a state. India's constitution is world's longest constitution. It was implemented on 26 January 1950. We are going to focus on democracy, right to vote. Any person who has completed 18 years of age and his or her name is registered with the Election Commission is entitled to vote. India is the country where the age of voter, earlier it was 21, but in 1984 it was brought down to 18. As a result, India became world's largest democracy. In the last election, more than 72 crore people were there as voters. To manage the elections of such a huge population is an important task in front of the Election Commission. So we are going to study that also. The success of democracy lies on decentralization of power. Power is given to public. We have Gram Panchayat is the unit of government which is working at grassroots level. In India, more than 7,50,000 villages are there. And for each village, Gram Panchayat is the basic unit. And powers are given to Gram Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti, Jilla Parishad, a three-tier system of local self-government, as well as state government and central government. We are going to see the Right to Information Act, plus some important objectives of Constitution as social justice and equality, policy of reservation of seats, scheduled castes and scheduled tribes, Prevention of Atrocities Act, provisions for minorities, laws relating to women and provisions for their representation, and the role of judiciary we are going to study in lesson number 1 of political science. Lesson number 2 deals with electoral process, where we are going to see the functions of Election Commission, which functions Election Commission is performing, such as preparing voters list, decide timetable for the elections, scrutiny of applications, giving recognition to political parties, to resolve disputes, restructuring of constituencies, and important thing is the code of conduct, Achar Samhita. And now we see the challenges faced by Election Commission in conducting elections with free and fair atmosphere. Plus we are going to see the journey of ballot box to electronic voting machine. Chapter number 3 is very simple, which describes about political parties. We have political parties at 2 different levels, national level and at regional level. Indian National Congress, INC, was established in 1885. Then we have different political parties working at national level, such as Communist Party of India, CPI, Bharatiya Janata Party, Bahujan Samaj Party, Nationalist Congress Party, NCP, and Trinamool Congress. They are working at national level. Then we have different regional parties, including Shiv Sena, Akali Dal, Shiromani Akali Dal, Assam Gan Parishad, Dravida Munnetra Kalagam. So some representative parties we are going to study in this lesson. Very important thing in this lesson is what political parties perform, what functions they perform. We are going to see under the title what are the characteristics of political parties. For example, to be in power, to pursue an ideology, to have party agenda, to establish government, to act as link between government and people. So different functions of political parties we are going to study in this lesson. Plus we are going to see the importance of even regional parties. Lesson number 4 deals with social and political movements. Here first we come across the meaning of movement, the characteristics of movement. We are going to see some movements, for example, tribal movement, farmers movement in India, workers movement, trade unions, women's movement, environmental movements, and so on. So this is an interesting part of the political science, and it is scoring. With proper reading you can get 100% marks in this history as well as political science.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you like this video, please let us know in the comment section below. If you also found it beneficial, do share it with your friends who are in the 10th standard right now. If you wish to contact Sandeep Watve sir, his contact details are given in the description below. You can contact us via our email and Instagram handle, and both the links are in the description. Please subscribe to the channel to find more videos from the series School from Home. Also, don't forget to check out our interviews called the Unwrapped series on this very channel. Thank you.